This is my review of Batman, Gargoyle of Gotham, Book 1. The artist and writer is Rafael Grampa, the colorist is Matthias Lopez, the letterer is John Workman. Now there are 9 different covers of this issue. Most of them you can find at the cover price of about $6.99, while the other more rare variants will definitely cost you a little bit more. Currently, as a filming of this video, we have the 2 covers done by Rafael Grampa. You have one that's in color and one that is the Noir edition that's in black and white. You have the Jim Lee cover, the Frank Miller cover, the David Finch cover. Then you have the Jim Lee black and white cover, which is going for about $20. Then you have the Priscilla Paredes cover going for $30, Paul Pope cover going for $80, and the Frank Miller black and white going for almost $300. Now, the overall aesthetic and feel of the environment in this book, Rafael does a really great job in transforming Gotham City, because Gotham City is known to be dark, disturbing, and depressing and gritty. But Rafael is able to make it even more so. The feeling I'm really get from the environment in this book is reminiscent of New York City in the movie Seven. That cold, depressing, like defeated feeling. That's how Gotham feels in this book. Now, the story itself is a retelling of Batman's story when he's about a year into his crime-fighting career. And at this point, Batman is getting familiar with his equipment. His tools, they're pretty standard. We see grappling hooks, we see repelling equipment, batarang-like projectiles. His suit, which is a little bit different than usual, it's made to be almost indestructible and is designed with technology that allows it to read Bruce Wayne's thoughts and react based off of his thoughts. His cowl isn't as sleek as we're used to seeing in previous versions. It's a bit bulkier, the eyes are more narrow. As a matter of fact, in an interview, Rafael said that he wanted to make Batman look more like a giant bat devil character, and he really does a great job at displaying that in this book, especially when you see Batman lurking in shadows and hunting criminals and in action. It really does give that feeling of what he's trying to put out there. The Batmobile in this book is not referred to the Batmobile. It's referred to as the blind machine. Now, there isn't a windshield, there are no windows to be seen on this vehicle. Instead, it uses cameras mounted all over its exterior, and those cameras stream visuals into Batman's mask. Now, the blind machine is a prototype, and this is the first time he's using it in this book. It totally looks unrefined. It's a bit clunky. It looks something a little bit out of Mad Max. It does remind me of Christopher Nolan's Batmobile and that trilogy. It does kind of have that kind of clunky, bulky effect, and which is really cool. I'm not complaining. I think it looks really great, and I really like them going that way, especially this being in the beginning of his career, that he doesn't have everything decked out. He doesn't have anything tested. He's just testing them actually on the job. But the cool thing about the blind machine is that it's controlled, yes, by his thoughts, just like his suit, but it also navigates itself using sonar technology. And that's one of the things I really liked what Rafael is trying to do. He was trying to use characteristics and the abilities of a bat. So that's what we see, that where the sonar comes in. We see it in the look of his suit and mask and equipment. Now I want to go on to the story. At this point, Batman has nearly committed all of himself to the promise he made to his parents after they were murdered. That being to make war against all evil, crime, and corruption in Gotham. I say nearly because there is one person in his way, and that person is, of course, Bruce Wayne. And it appears that Batman sees Bruce Wayne as a persona that has served its purpose, and he's ready to shed that identity. Not only is he ready to shed it, but he's wanting to kill off Bruce Wayne. That's the thing that drew me into this book when I first heard it was coming out, that this was going to be one of the main plot points. I can't wait to see how the story unfolds in the upcoming issues. But when Alfred ends up hearing that this is Bruce Wayne or Batman's plan, whoever technically this person is right now, he becomes very concerned, and he's not shy about telling Batman/Bruce Wayne how insane that is. Regardless of all this, Alfred, being as loyal as he is, he disagrees with Bruce/Batman on this, but he still continues to help him with his missions throughout the rest of the issue. Now, we also have another character we're all familiar with. That's Detective Jim Gordon. He's not a commissioner yet. He is a detective. And at this point, he's trying to track down a serial killer in Gotham. This killer, who has a unique way of taking out his victims, has garnered attention from the mainstream press. And this has led to a rogue reporter to take to social media to shed light on the media's bias for the rich. Because while so many poor and homeless have recently gone missing, all the attention seems to be focused on the murders of these rich men. With no leads to follow and the body count so far at 4, Jim enlists the help of Batman. Even though the rest of the GCPD is not a fan of the Bat, in this retelling, Batman and Jim seem to still have the professional relationship that we're used to seeing. So we have that serial killer doing whatever they're doing for reasons that we don't know yet. But there's also this new villain, this really, really creepy villain that Raphael introduces us to. And this villain is named Crytoon. Now, Crytoon actually gets his name from a cartoon in this universe called Crytoon. The aesthetic and the look of this character, to me, it looks as if you took the Joker and you mixed it in with the Crow, this is kind of what you would have. And that's not a bad thing. I really, really like it. The overall vibe of Crytoon is both disturbing and interesting. And as far as we know, he's obsessed with that old cartoon called Crytoon, because we see in the beginning of the issue, he's watching recordings of it. He's drawing pictures of it. I don't know if these are thoughts in his mind that he's drawing, or is he's drawing things that he's seeing on the cartoon, but he definitely has some sort of like psychological, emotional connection with it. And these cartoons that he's seeing and that he's emulating, they remind me of the old school Looney Tunes, Disney cartoons like Steamboat Willie. Now myself, I grew up watching like Wile E. Coyote and Sylvester the Cat and all that kind of stuff. A lot of us have. And we've seen various cartoon characters being blown up, electrocuted, falling off mountains, anvils falling on their heads, and it's made to look funny. You know, we see the reaction. Of course, the characters never die, but with this character, he takes it up a notch. So he emulates the violence in the cartoon that he's obsessed with, and he inflicts that violence on his victim. Very creepy, very disturbing. The motive for him doing that is not explained yet. No one has a clue why he's doing what he's doing, why he's targeting, who he's targeting, but it definitely seems like they're going to be sharing that in later issues. Another disturbing thing about Crytoon, one of the things that he does before he kills his victim is actually he starts to cry, but he's not doing so out of empathy or regret or feeling sorry for his victim. But as he describes it, he says he's foretelling what the victim is going to feel, you know, the pain, the suffering he's going to put them through and how they're going to respond. It's really twisted. This guy has many screws loose, but is a fascinating character. I'm really curious to see what made this person this way. And I'm really excited to see how they go ahead and lay that out in the upcoming issues. So Batman faces this character twice, and he loses to this character twice. The first time around, they meet in an abandoned warehouse, which is actually a front for a black market dynamite making facility. And they get into a tussle. Crytoon eventually overwhelms Batman by hitting him a bunch of times with hammers, and then eventually blows up the place with Batman in it. Batman does survive, however. And in their second meeting, Batman is snooping around an old movie studio where it seems like the Crytoon cartoon was developed and made. And hiding in there is Crytoon. And then Crytoon pulls something out of Wile E. Coyote's book, grabs an anvil, wherever he gets an anvil, and smacks Batman over the head with it. And after that, a car chase ensues. That's where we see the blind machine for the first time. And then once the car chase commences, we're seeing Batman and Crytoon at a standoff. Crytoon has a hostage, and with a gun pointed to the hostage's head. Batman actually has an old reel of the cartoon that Crytoon is so obsessed with. Batman is about to light it on fire. And with that, Crytoon drops the gun and surrenders himself. So I don't know what this guy's deal is, but he's definitely an interesting character. He had the drop on Batman twice and left him alive both times, although the book does show that he's killed people without regard before. So I don't know why he's saving Batman. So I don't know if there's some sort of relationship there that Batman doesn't realize. Now at the very end of the book, we find out that Jim Gordon, on his research of this serial killer, he finds out that Arkham Asylum has something to do with it, specifically Arkham Asylum's juvenile wing. And upon research, the very last thing we see Jim Gordon looking through the various names of all the juveniles who spent time in Arkham Asylum, and we find out that Bruce Wayne's name, surprising and not surprising, is on the list as well. So overall, I really did enjoy this book. I love the art. I love the story. There wasn't really much I didn't like about it, so I highly recommend picking it up. And if you can, pick up a couple of those variants as well. Book 2 comes out December 12th, 2023, which is right around the corner. So always remember to support your local comic and game shops. I appreciate you all, and thanks for watching.